Yes, Daniel is Associate Professor of Soil Microbiology at the Department of Soils, Water and Agriculture Engineering at the Sultan Qaboos University in Oman. Daniel is currently researching the topics of soil salinity and fertility management for arid lands ecosystems. Before joining the Sultan Qaboos University, Daniel worked as a senior research associate at the Lancaster Environment Center at Lancaster University in the UK. And prior to that, he was a Humboldt Fellow at the Max Rubner Institute at Karlsruhe in Germany. Daniel is currently part of the editorial board of Critical Reviews in Environmental Science and Technology and Journal of Environmental Quality. Daniel will take us on the journey about strategies for improving soil health in arid environment. Daniel, the floor is yours, and please keep in mind that you have 10 minutes for the presentation. We would allow maybe exceptionally 1 or 2 additional minutes, but please try to be on schedule so that we have enough time for interactive discussion with the audience. Daniel, the floor is yours. And please, I will run the slides for you.
And on behalf of Sultan Qaboos University, we are. It's a pleasure to be in this event and talk about soil health. Soil health is a concept that is very dear for me and for all of us here in the Department of Soil of Sultan Qaboos University. Because of the arid land conditions that we have in Oman, soil health is for sure one of the biggest issues that we have, not only for Oman, but all arid land ecosystems. So you can move next slide, please. So I will talk today about one specific issue and what we are doing about it. We'll talk about salinity and the research we are doing to tackle soil salinity in Oman. Soil salinity is the major risk for soil health that we have in Oman and arid countries in general. We have the natural accumulation of salts coming because of the excessive evapotranspiration. This is a map of Al-Batina region. Besides the naturally occurring primary salinization, we also have problems, these problems being exacerbated by seawater intrusion. And this map is showing exactly that by the coastline you have this problem is much more severe than it is inland. Agriculture in Oman is not as widespread as in other countries. My homeland, Brazil, we have over 35% of our territory covered by agriculture. In Oman, it would be something like less than 2%, I believe. And this area, over 70% of this area is very prone to and suffers with problems of high salinity. And what we are wishing to and want to tackle is the systems what you have here in the center picture with a healthy soil, small farms, very productive farms that are sustaining the life on the land for the Omani people. Slowly they are becoming abundant, like the picture you see on the right. And what we wish is to prevent this from happening and try to restore the health of these ecosystems to their most healthy states, like we can see in the central picture. Next slide, please. So in order to do that, we need to understand the problem. The problem of soil health is a problem that is, there's multi facets for this problem. There is the quality of the water and the use of the water. There is the soil chemistry. And there's the soil physics related also to the water, but then the soil biology at the end is integrating all as a result of all these parameters. So the first solution that we are working here, this was an outcome from previous projects from Dr. Said Al-Ismaili. It's dealing with water-saving technologies and technologies that will prevent the excessive use of water, especially if the water is of very low water quality. So the use of capillary barriers and mulching in arid soils is the first priority dealing with water management. This is the first solution that we are using for soil salinity and soil health management. Can you move next slide? Second part, we need to think about what is the issues with ion balance and the accumulation with specific ions that may be toxic for plants, and will be the excessive imbalance of certain ions is the definition of the problem of salinity, and we need to restore that ion balance. The way to restore that ion balance is to deal with the alkalinity in the soils, increase the amount of protons. And one of the best amendments we come about to deal with this ion balance problem is the use of elemental sulfur. And the use of elemental sulfur will create a slight acidification of the soils, and the protons will interchange with the solid phase and will allow for the leaching of the bases and the restoration of that ion balance on the soils. Next slide, please. So this is just quick results showing that once we use elemental sulfur in the soils, we have a more effective leaching of sodium and salts overall, and the responsiveness of these soils for leaching events from irrigation, and the graphic on the right is also heavily increased by the use of elemental sulfur. Sorry. Next slide, please. So the third solution that we talked about and we are using here in Oman is the use of biochar amendment as an overall amendment for restoring the soil structure, the physical properties, the water retention of the soil, the infiltration rate, but also the chemical and biological properties of the soil. So what we need in this arid soils is some source of organic amendment that is stable throughout the years. If we add compost, compost is a very good source of nutrients, is a good fertilizer, but most of the compost will be decomposed quickly, and we need some source of amendment, carbon amendment, that will be long-lasting in soil. So biochar works in that way for us. It improves soil structure, fertility, salt leaching, and also restores the soil health on the microbial side. Next slide, please. Yeah, so these are some of the biological benefits of using biochar. It will increase the microbial biomass. It will it provides habitat for the microbes, will increase the moisture retention in these soils, will increase mycorrhizal plant association, and also promote biological nitrogen fixation whenever you have diazotrophs in the system. Next slide. So we have from our work already a paper evaluating different sources of biochar and different biochar produced in different conditions. And we find out that the feedstock source and the temperature of the biochar is really critical to having an optimal condition for this biochar. You have higher stability of the biochar if you produce it at higher temperatures, but at the higher temperatures, some biochar will be toxic for the microbes at some degree. So it appears that around 60 degrees for production of biochar is the best, and for soil health applications in arid lands. And some of the feedstock sources are best suited than others. The best one that we found so far is date palm leaves, and this is the one we chose for the next studies that we are performing at the moment. Next slide. So we believe there is an integration between these three different aspects: the water management, the ion balance, and also the conditioning of the chemical and physical properties of the soil. And these three technologies should be working together, and this is what we are researching at the moment. Next slide. So this is one experiment that is being carried out at the moment by my PhD student, Ahmed Rabayai, and he's evaluating different sources of biochar and different ways that we can produce biochar in combination with sulfur, and how that is changing the soil health on these systems. Next slide. But most importantly, we also need to think about not only what is technically feasible from the research side, but what are the perspectives from the farmers with regards of this technology. Not only these technologies, what other things they are already doing, and what is part of the culture, and what is most likely to be adopted and used by the communities. So we, at the same time, we are developing the technical side and the research at SKU. We are also doing survey studies and trying to understand more about what is the vision of these farmers, how severe is the problem for them, and what are they doing about it. So next slide. So this is just one of the results from the studies we are doing about this study is led by a colleague, Ahmed Al-Mayahi. And some of the interviews, we get questions about what techniques are they using for deal with this soil salinity and soil degradation problems in their farms. And how do they get information, and what things they are more prone to use, if amendments or techniques, and what is the limit of investment they need to they consider critical for dealing with this problem. Next slide. So this is what I had to bring for you today. And besides the project on soil salinity, we are also working together with other colleagues here at Sultan Qaboos University in similar subjects of soil health. We, together with Rhonda Janke in crop sciences, we are also using organic farming as a tool for dealing with soil health, especially when you do not have heavy salinization problems. And also we are studying the use of nanoclays for stabilization of organic matter in these soils. So I'm happy to answer questions, and thank you all for attending. I hope I kept the time.
Yes, thank you very much, Daniel, for the insights on the presentation. And also thank you for sharing some concrete solutions, regarding how to improve soil fertility and soil health. But also thank you for highlighting the importance of a demand-driven, research approach, to make sure that technologies that are generated, from the research and from the academia are actually easily accessible, from small-scale, farmers. Because again, we know from experience that many technologies, some small-scale farmers, cannot, afford, to have them. So really, thank you very much, for emphasizing that specific, aspect.